People out there today trying to spin a very positive narrative in reference to LSU making the SEC championship game. I do hope it's possible that they can make an SEC championship game, because that means that you still would technically have a chance for football or playoffs, meaningful football. Now, you need a lot of help. You need Tennessee to lose this weekend to Georgia, which might be likely here. I guess technically you don't need Alabama to lose. Okay, because they could be in it. You would need them to win out. You need Texas to lose. A&M to lose. I think LSU needs to worry about beating Florida. Now, a lot of you say, Blake, we're gonna beat Florida. Well, guys, I want to see how you respond after playing 6 straight quarters of being hot garbage. I mean, that's what you've been. Because I look at the second half of you offensively, I look at the second half of you defensively, I see the adjustments that you made at halftime, and quite honestly, we're worried about SEC. We have people out here. And I get it. I get it. There's still hope. There's still faith. I'm with you. You're not out. You do not deserve, nor do I think you are going to make an SEC championship game. Now, have crazier things happened? LSU fans should know that because of 2007. Crazy things can happen. Technically, even in 2011, you needed Oklahoma State to lose for there to be a rematch. So you've been on the receiving end of it in 07. Then you were on the bad receiving end of it in 2011. I get what you're saying, and I want to have faith. But I also know that regardless, I think you got to do and control what you can control. What you can control is winning out. And I know that there's a lot of scenarios that we want to play with ourselves here. And I saw people bringing out the calculator, the SEC championship calculator. Guys, if you play South Carolina again, who's on their way to be a 9-3 team too, they could have the same thing that you do. Now, they lost to you, and I get it. I don't know if you could beat them right now. I don't know if you could beat South Carolina right now. Blake, that's ludicrous. No, it's not. So when I look at you as a program, there's one goal in mind. It's going to be the team that we break down tonight. We're going to do an LSU and Florida preview here, more of a deep dive. 5 things that I think LSU, well, number 1, that we need to know, but number 2, what I think LSU, like, if you got to do this. Bottom line, like, going into this game as a fan, this is what you need to expect. All the woulda, coulda, shouldas are going by the wayside. So we'll go through 5 of those things as well. We'll try to get a little bit of a recruiting update as airline wide receiver 2026 Kenny Darby committed to LSU today. Now that gives 6 commitments to LSU in the 2026 class. Aiden Hall, Richard Anderson, Ja'Kai Anderson, and Jalen Chapman, along with Kenny Darby, are in the 2026 class. We'll discuss about that here tonight as well. We'll get David Waters from Gator Breakdown, who'll be joining us tonight at 7:30, 7:35-ish. And then we'll that's probably the 4 main topics. And if we have time, we'll get to hashtag Ask Blake, thoughts, questions, concerns. You know, last night was amazing, man. I really thought, I was like, man, Monday, people are going to be bummed out. You were pissed. You were mad. I'm glad you were mad. I'm very glad that you were mad. You know what's interesting, because shows like mine now start taking hits because, no, not because of Jeff Landry and his absolutely ridiculousness. But, and by the way, before you call me woke, or before you guys call me woke or assume my political party, I'm not who you think that I am. So I will just throw this out there too. You can leave those comments on Twitter. Buddy, do I have a story to tell you? But that's neither here nor there. Getting back to what we were talking about, David Waters is going to be joining us if we have thoughts, questions, concerns. But what I was mentioning was shows like mine take a little bit of a hit when LSU isn't doing well. And we come back a little bit down to reality here. So I fully understand it, but I appreciate you guys still tuning in. That makes me feel good. Makes me feel good. All right, let's get moving. Let's get to a couple comments. Travis Daisy says Missouri not beating South Carolina or Arkansas. Yeah, I don't think that they are. I don't think they're beating South Carolina this weekend. And guys, I'm just going to tell you, if you played on a neutral field today against South Carolina and the same Lenore Sellers plays, you're not winning that football game. You 1,000% are not going to win that football game. So not only do I look, you need a lot of help to get to the SEC championship game, but man, there's just I can't. I don't think you deserve it. Texas A&M winner would be the opponent. Yeah, but you still have Bama there, though. You'd still have Bama, and Bama's got to win on you, and Tennessee's got to win. I mean, the tiebreakers are going to be insane. Now you are there. We see 3 losses next to LSU's name and don't realize them being in the conference, right? The USC loss means nothing at this exact moment when you're talking about the SEC. There are a lot of teams that got 2 losses in the SEC. Now, A&M's not one of them. They got to get another one. Does that come to Texas? Texas only has 1. Bama has 2. So it would be A&M and Tennessee that only have 1. And can Georgia beat Tennessee this weekend? So the tiebreakers in the SEC, I mean, there's a lot of people that are trying to maneuver this, but none of those teams up top that I'm trying to think here. I guess you could say A&M got blown out by South Carolina. Did Texas really get blown out by Georgia? I don't know. I don't know if you call a 14-point loss a blow or 15-point loss a blowout. There's so many different scenarios that you can play in that. But I mean, look, here's how I'm viewing the rest of the season, just so we're all aware and on the same page here. The way that Blake Ruffino is going to, and I think that you should as well, view the rest of the season, we're going to take this one game at a time. Because I know that I still remain insane. I think that you're still a better team than you've shown all year. The best game that you had was Arkansas. Without a doubt. By the way, your quarterback didn't throw a touchdown. Also didn't throw an interception. The best game that you have played all year was against Arkansas. I need you to come out of this 6-quarter funk that you're in and show me that you can play football. Because, guys, regardless, I mean, we didn't score a touchdown until they put in their second-string guys. We didn't score a touchdown. So we can make this whatever we want to make it. But I have a very different reality than maybe some others. The reality that I have about LSU right now is simple. Is that the last 6 quarters that you have played have been abysmal. They've been horrible. So I see some of this, like SEC, what we got to do to win the SEC or get in the SEC championship game. The only thing that Blake Ruffino was worried about is you beating Florida on Saturday. It really, really, really amazes me that we live in different realities. Guys, the last 6 quarters that you have played have been horrendous. It's not just. It literally, guys, you have 12 points in 6 quarters offensively. That's a problem. That's a massive problem. You kind of been tinkering along in the beginning of the season. You might have an offensive problem. Actually, no, you have an offensive problem. So say whatever you want, call Blake Ruffino whatever you want. But if you want to look at LSU in the mirror right now, if you want to look at your team in the mirror right now, you got to go back out there and show that you aren't broken. Now, as I said in the beginning of this, I think that this LSU team was and is so much more capable than anything that they've shown all year. But until they can prove to me that they can go out there and dominate through not even dominate. Let me retract. If they can show me that they can go out there in 4 quarters and not make silly mistakes, be gap sound, be fundamentally sound. Don't just give me these half-quarter spurts or one-drive spurts. Can you show me what you did against Arkansas? Like Arkansas secondary, I don't care. Arkansas secondary is horrendous. It's one of the worst in the SEC. If not statistically, the worst in the SEC. Maybe Mississippi State. And your quarterback didn't throw a touchdown. We live on different planets right now. By the way, that was your Ruffino's rants of the night. Because I did put it in there. There it is. Dane Bergeron with a $5 super chat says, Blake, I know the backups are freshmen, but maybe someone else should get a shot if Nuss struggles Saturday. Do you remember Herb Tyler? Well, Herb Tyler's been on the show before, very, very early in the show, like 40 years ago. He called into the show. And I remember having that conversation with him. But that's before a lot of y'all's times. I think that was like it might have been in 2018 before we stopped and then picked the podcast back up again. I don't remember. But yeah. If Nuss struggles, to the question, I just don't think you're going to pull him, man. Nor do I think that you should. I don't think you should pull him. I think he's your best option by a long shot. And I just cannot justify, like, if he keeps making turnovers, I mean, maybe you just say, hey, let's throw some shit at the wall and see what sticks. But I don't think you're there yet. I don't even think you're remotely close to being there yet. So as far as Ricky or AJ Swan, the reality of it is, Dane, you're not there. So I don't think Ricky Collins is Herb Tyler either. All right, let's get moving. Everybody do us a favor and hit the like and share to all those groups if you're on Facebook and to all of those social media pages. You're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell, wherever you listen to podcasts. Rate, review, and subscribe. Where are all you watching from tonight? Where is everybody watching from tonight? 337-225-985-504-318-31 great. 318 still killing the podcast audio numbers. You guys, I'm telling you. Y'all love y'all's audio podcast. It amazes me. Maybe y'all are sitting out there on the tree stand and you can't watch the videos. You know what I mean? And you got to put in the AirPods, and you're like, fuck it, I'm listening to Blake. I'm with you. I am with you. 318, I love you. All right. So hit the like and share and all that. When we come back, we're going to get rolling here. LSU and Florida preview. David Waters joins us right after that. Stay with us. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50. That's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50 to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag. Betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating.
J&J has protected Louisiana homes and businesses for over 60 years.
Call him today, make the pests go away. J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
All right. Blake Stanley says that I'm concerned that Brian Kelly seems to have LSU playing soft and mentally weak. And even worse than that, they aren't playing as a team. This is just not LSU football. Well, that's my point. Can you rebound after the six quarters that you've had? Because there is come on, man. Come on. I mean, I win on Saturday. That's it. Then next week you can start making those reservations of, well, we know what happens. Right now, you need to win. Let's talk about Florida, the team that you got to beat. So the status of DJ Lagway is something that a lot of people have questions for. Now, DJ had a hamstring injury midway or halfway through, I guess. Definitely, I think, pretty sure in the second quarter there, where he had a hamstring injury against Georgia. Was suited up last week. Then didn't go, was going to try to give it a go. He didn't. But the status of this LSU game versus Florida, there's one big thing here for me. It's got to be, what is the status of DJ Lagway? Now, if he's good, well, I know what your thought's going to be and your question's going to be in the comments, which still leave comments, is going to be, well, Blake, if he does play, how mobile is he? Well, he's got to be mobile enough. You know, and I talked to our good buddy David Waters, who's going to be joining us in a little bit. I asked him, I'm like, hey, what's your feeling on if he's going to play? And he says, yeah, I kind of feel like he's going to play. So, okay, well, we'll see. At least at minimum, try to give it a go this week. If you don't know who DJ Lagway is, he's a 5-star quarterback from last class. He's come in. He hasn't necessarily been asked to do a lot in reference to. He's not dropping back 25, 30, 35 times a game to try to win them football games. He only has 92 attempts on the year. But you saw that Georgia game, man. You see the big shot that he takes for a touchdown. And Florida goes up on Georgia. A lot of people have questioned, well, man, if DJ Lagway, with how explosive his arm is and how good he's made some decisions, you can see where this kid's athletic enough. He doesn't mind getting hit. He'll step up in the pocket. He'll throw the ball down the field. You see all those traits with him. If he is healthy, and he will, not even if he's healthy, because he's not going to be completely 100% healthy, but even if with the 80, 90% health that he would be, just how much can he affect this game? Because I think it's a lot, clearly. I think he could do some really good things against you if he plays. Now, Florida, ironically, Guys, they need one of these games against you or Ole Miss. They got to knock one of us off to get to bowl eligibility because, guys, they're going to beat Florida State. So these games do matter to them. How much does this game matter to you? DJ Lagway has completed 60.2% of his passes this year, 6 touchdowns, 5 picks. He has run the ball a little bit. And on third downs, I know you don't want to hear about this. I really, really know you don't want to hear about this. Another guy that can move at quarterback. Yeah, he can move. He can move. He's an athletic kid. He's run the ball 37 times for 114 yards. Sacks are included in there, but he's had some critical third down runs. He had a critical third down run against Georgia a couple weeks ago, and he went for 10, slide like he was playing for Kevin O'Sullivan and the boys, popped up, threw the ball to the referee, and he was off and running. I'm like, okay, so they're not designed running things with him. The kid, if he's outside the pocket, is going to move. By the way, he's very physical too. Ironically, the play that he got hurt on was him running his own read. So that's the biggest question mark in this game. If he does play, which we're assuming at the current moment he plays, if he doesn't, look, man, if you can't stop Florida without DJ Lagway and they're down to a preferred walk-on from Yale, if they're moving the ball on you, if they're able to do things on you, you don't deserve to win. That means that we got a massive conversation about culture on our hands come the postgame on Saturday. So you're going to win if DJ Lagway does not play. It's like the Florida State situation from a year ago. But until I know otherwise, I'm going to assume he plays because he almost played last week versus Texas before they pulled him. Let's get to the team, again, assuming that Lagway is going to be there. There is nothing that Florida does exceptionally well. Nothing. They are average or below average in everything that they do. Now, they have some weapons. They can go deep on you. They can stretch the field on you. And you know what they want to do? Exactly what Billy Napier has done the last 2 years. They're going to use the jet sweep motion. They're going to hand the ball off. They're going to want to lean on you and lean on you and lean on you. Oh, this is repetitive. Exactly what they did a year ago. There is nothing that they do exceptionally well, though. When I look at them as a team, they've been banged up, and that has been their number one problem. Graham Mertz goes out, running backs go out, O-lineman, D-lineman, linebackers, safety, doesn't matter. They've had injuries in a lot of places. So I look at, legitimately, I look at them and say, yeah, they can scare you a little bit. Like they just aren't, they got some talent. You see some flashes. They got some good guys along their defensive line like L.J. McCray, who was a young cat. They got DJ Lagway. They got Wilson III or Trey Wilson III. If his status, what's his status? They got Mizell. They have weapons. They do nothing exceptionally well. Guys, they're 73rd in the country in total offense and 100th in the country in total defense. My God, if you're still rusty coming after this Alabama loss, if you're not able to move the football, if you're not able to get some stops against them, Lagway or not, I don't know what to tell you. But my question and my fear in this game is simple. Guys, I've seen teams dominate you in the running game the last 2 weeks, which, ironically, some of you from last night's show really did not like that I said that Brian Kelly, I was cherry-picking stats, even though I wasn't, that when Brian Kelly loses a game, teams line up and run the ball on you. In the 7 losses that Brian Kelly has in the SEC, his teams have averaged, giving up on the ground, 275.14 yards. I don't know what to tell you other than that. It's not just a quarterback run. CC's Ole Miss from last season. But when I legitimately look at what has happened to you the last 2 weeks, you have been broken. You have not fixed anything. Now, that has come in the quarterback run game. I am with you there. I am with you 100% there. Because what are we? And I know that you've been good stopping running backs out of the backfield. I know that you've been good on dive plays and counter play. I get all of that. Because Florida they're going to line it up and run the ball against you. They're going to play keep away from you. They're going to try to Arkansas you. In not so many ways. They're going to show you eye candy. They're going to pop pass. They're going to jet sweep. They're going to go right up the middle. They're going to run counter. They're going to run play action out of that counter. And I question, like, hey, man, you were matched up with physical teams the last 2 weeks. Florida and the identity that they want to have is lining up and run on you. They're not good anywhere else. In your front seven, how broken are you? Are you fundamentally sound? At safety, guys, safety play. Listen, I told you 3 weeks ago that I'm done talking about safety play. I told you that it was never going to get better. If it doesn't get better by Ole Miss, unless you're sending Major Burns on blitzes, nothing's going to change. And I promised you we'd stop talking about safety play. Because the personnel that you have at safety is not LSU caliber. It just isn't. I have hope in a guy like Deshaun McBride. I really have hope for him. You're asking him to be something he's not. He is a rangy free safety who can cover up space. And that's where he succeeds. And it's where he succeeded all year this year. Now, life came at him fast in the running game, and everybody knows that. But covering, the kid can really cover. God bless you, okay, if you allow them to lean on you and get the ball down the field. And the truth is, teams like Georgia try to make Florida one-dimensional, and they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. And I'm just going to throw this out there. I know last week got really, really away from Florida. They just didn't have a quarterback because they were able to line it up against Georgia and smack that ass. Now, it's not as if that Georgia defensively sucks. Guys, they're 13th in the country in total defense. Let me make sure I got that because we talked about that at Ruffino and Joe show. 13th in the country in total defense. They got a running back in Ball that can really get some things rolling. Number 13, get ready for him. 235-pound back that's coming downhill. You better get ready for it. How do you stop it? But we talked about Lagway. We talked about Florida not being good anywhere. This week needs to be about you. It needs to be about you. Because when I look at this offense and I look at this team, let's start with offense. When I look at this team, let's start with offense. God bless LSU if they can't run the football this week versus Florida. Because Florida has been, all season, a team in front seven that, they will have some success in their front seven. They don't have scrubs. They're 93rd in the country in rushing defense. They're 93rd in the country in rush yards allowed. Now, where you're not good running the football if you're LSU, you haven't been able to consistently do it all year. God bless the United States of America if you cannot line up and run the ball on one of the worst defenses in the SEC in run defense. If you're not able to line up and run the football in normal situations, outside zone right, outside zone left, that's what you need to run. I would very much prefer it if you find creative ways to do it out of the pistol or out of center, under center. because you keep going 12 personnel out of pistol in some different formations. Go out of the pistol and run outside zone if that's what continues to give you success. And you know what? If they want to come down in the box and they want to stop it, play action their ass. When is the last time that we've run play action passes? Hasn't been recent at all. But God bless Mother Teresa and Mother Mary if you cannot line up and run the ball on Florida. I look at this Florida defense and say to myself, listen, man, every game, put on the game. Florida's played teams better than you. But Georgia can't really establish a running game this year. Guys, they're right there with you on not being able to run the football. And I'm like, wait a minute. Georgia was able to establish a running game? Huh. Wait, their quarterback threw 3 interceptions? That's interesting. Sound familiar? God bless you. Out of a team that's going to put 3 defensive linemen and 3 linebackers on the field and run a 3-3-5 stack. God bless the United States if you can't line up and bust them in their mouth. It's not a great game for center DJ Chester. It's not. One thing about Ron Roberts, the DC, who was at Southeastern Louisiana, was at ULL, was with Dave Aranda, was at Auburn, now at Florida. God bless him. If Ron Roberts sees a weakness, he's going to attack it. And your weakness is lining up and running the football. Florida has not been able to stop the run all year. It's the Ron Roberts special. They're 93rd in the country in run defense. God help us. You keep talking about giving Garrett Nussmeier help. Here it comes. And I promise you, in the postgame, if LSU cannot run for at or close to 120 yards, shit, I'd take over 100. My head's going to explode. My head's going to explode. I know you think that you can't do it, but my God, I promise you, I will blow a gasket. No, we're going to be doing probably, not completely done yet, we're probably going to have a new location for the postgame. And it's going to be very electric. But God bless us. All right, last thing here. Guys, Florida has been horrendous at staying on the field offensively on third down. They're 95th. You're 108th in third down defense. Love Blake Baker to death. Think he's going to do wonders here. The last 2 weeks, he's gotten absolutely blasted when it comes to getting off the field on third down. You got to find who you are, man. As a team, as a program, where is your direction? And I'm not talking about the band One Direction. But where's your direction? Where's your culture? You know, we come out here and I see all these national guys, oh, culture. Everybody likes to talk about culture during the offseason. You know why culture gets talked about in the offseason? Because when you get your ass absolutely whooped for the next last 6 quarters, and then you got to go on the road in the last road environment that you're going to be in the season, regular season, how do you react to it? How does your head coach react to it? I promise you this, as God is my witness. Don't run the ball this week. See what happens. Because that favoritism that you say that I give on the show so much, well, here we are. All right. I've gone a little bit long here. That's what she said. Let me get to a quick break. Or that's what he said. Thank you, interns. They're like, Blake, that's what he said. Thank you, Andrew. Let me get to a quick break. Dave Waters from Gators Breakdown joins us next. Stay with us. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag. Guys, I want to talk to you about our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company. Are you facing tough times due to an injury from a car accident, navigating the complexities of divorce, or purchasing a new home? At the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company, they understand the challenges you're going through, and they are here to help. The lawyer team of Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, along with Morgan Daniels, have the experience and proven track record to give you that peace of mind. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. That's 985-386-7600 to schedule a free consultation at their brand new office located in historic downtown Ponchatoula. They're also doing a special, the AYS special. If you're refinancing or closing on a home in Southeast Louisiana, request the Drake Title Company to handle your closing. If you mention Blake Ruffino and AYS, you're going to receive a $400 discount on title fees. Again, give them a call at 985-386-7600. Let them know that Blake Ruffino sent you on by. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Falls and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
David Waters, Gators Breakdown. I was actually on this man's show earlier today. I'll let him tell you where you can catch all of that. But Gator Dave is back. It's a ritual week. Dave, we've done this for 4 straight years, you and I. LSU versus Florida. Welcome back. How are you?
4 straight.
Yeah,
Seems like it's been longer. I'm trying to think. When did you start?
2019-ish, 2020-ish.
Okay, I guess about right then. I started in 2016, so it throws everything off.
Okay. So yeah. Gator Dave's with it. Yeah, so 4 straight years. Here we are again. Great rivalry in the SEC, LSU and Florida. I know I'm already going to get flack from LSU fans for wearing a blue shirt, but that's okay. I'm not supporting the Gators here, Dave. I got to admit.
On my end, it kind of looks purplish.
Okay. It's a navy blue shirt. I'm glad it looks
navy blue. Okay, see, I got the royal blue, of course, but
okay, right. I mean, I just wanted to make sure people are going to think that I've traded sides here after LSU can't stop a running quarterback, Dave. You know, I mean, there's a lot of things going on. But look, man, obviously, I know we talked about this on your show, but just for the LSU fans here, I got to ask you, obviously, the ultimate question. I know we talked about it earlier. Your thoughts on DJ Lagway's status? Where do you think things stand at the current moment? And do you think he's going to play on Saturday?
I do think he'll play based off where we're at early in the week. I think he was somewhat close last week. Like you and I talked, and look, they had to do everything to keep him off the field last week. He wanted to practice. He did some light practicing on Wednesday and Thursday, not enough to really play. But he's done some PRP treatments, getting shots in the hamstring, just trying to get the muscles ready to go. If it had been up to him, he probably would have gave it a go on Saturday. But better heads probably prevailed there, and you don't want the decision of going out there to an 18-year-old say, "Oh, you know what? We think you could carry us the last 3 weeks of the game of the season. Don't stress it here." Right. Don't play it.
That we might not win anyway.
Yeah. It's going to be difficult to go on the road and win in Texas anyway. So if you ask me right now, I think he'll play. How healthy he'll be, like he's not going to be 100% DJ Lagway. And kind of going to your point there, mobile quarterback. You're not going to get the Marcel Reed performance. You're not going to get the Jalen Milroe performance. I think if he can run, he enough to escape pressure, get out of bounds as soon as possible, get on the ground as soon as possible. But with him not 100%, I don't think you have to worry so much about some of the struggles on defense of stopping a mobile quarterback that you guys have seen.
So let's just assume that based off of what you said, he does play and he's going to give it a shot here. What does DJ Lagway possess that makes him so dangerous?
He can throw the ball a country mile. throw them in their mountains.
I mean, dude, he's so pure at him throwing the football, man. You could tell how good of an athlete and quarterback he is by the way he throws the football.
Yeah, and look, that's what he wants to do. I'm looking high to low, not low to high. He wants the deep ball. And so, we saw it before he got hurt versus Georgia, the big touchdown pass to Aiden Mizell. You go before that against Kentucky where he just lit Kentucky up. It wasn't dink and dunk and a consistent performance. It was, hey, I'm launching the ball, and Florida scored 48 points against Kentucky and finally beats Kentucky. And that, a lot to do because DJ Lagway is just chucking the ball deep. So that's what he possesses. That's what he wants to do. Like I said, he's mobile. He can keep a play alive if he's 100%. It brings the read option into Florida's and Billy Napier's offense at its best and needs a quarterback like that. And, you said on my show today, no disrespect for Graham Mertz. Certainly not. Florida needed a quarterback like that at the time. But
Billy had at ULL, man.
Yeah. But if this offense is going to work like it, at its best, and you saw you mentioned ULL and Levi Lewis, you got to have that running threat at the quarterback spot to really have this offense take off. That's what DJ Lagway possesses. The explosivity, either running the ball where he helps the running backs in the zone read and gives them the ball, or passing the ball down the field. That's what he brought to this offense.
Yeah, and look, I know he's not in the style of Marcel Reed. I know he's not in the style of what we saw last week with Jalen Milroe. But my problem is it's a different challenge for LSU because he possesses the ability to run. In this way, because he can rifle one in between a couple of defenders, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, like, LSU has to be able to find out if they can do the right things defensively, right? Meaning, you can't stop a quarterback run game. What makes me think that you're going to stop the traditional RPO where you got to be disciplined and fundamentally sound? Really, Dave, the only thing out of the quarterback run game that everybody did was that other teams just ran the football on you. On this one, it's going to be the same principle, but now they're going to throw it on you, which makes it even more deadly if you're not careful. And so I think that, Dave, what's so intriguing to me in this game is I know, yes, he's not running the football, but it's still a triple option principle. You're still trying to get those numbers out there to where he can complete it, and that's my worry. And you saying that, I mean, look, is that Florida's biggest advantage offensively here is like, look, it might not be the same, but I can see where DJ in an RPO type of situation can really start lighting LSU up here.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's done pretty well in the RPO. I think a lot of it too, and I think they trust him there too, because when he would, as a young quarterback, throw an interception, he would come back on the field the very next drive, and it would be an RPO, and he would pass it. He threw an interception, the very next play would be an RPO pass. So he's got the confidence in himself. The staff's got the confidence in him calling that play for himself. Blake, going to your point about this offense, the misdirection, I think, in this offense is a little more with DJ Lagway out there, especially when you have to worry about the quarterback. And Florida uses the motion. They'll bring the jet sweep. They'll do a pop pass. They'll do the they'll try the window dress a little bit. And look, a lot of teams do that, and that's where Florida's defense got killed versus Texas last week. So Florida wants to do a lot of the same things with their motion and sets. So I certainly think Florida's under Billy Napier, the run game has a certain threshold. It's going to be there at a certain point. But when you insert that running quarterback, the run game, the misdirection, everything that comes along with it is enhanced a good bit. You saw Florida's run game take a step with young running backs. Montreal Johnson's been out. And you've had
Ball is the dude, man.
Yeah, you've had Ball and you've had Jacoby Jackson step up, and they've been able to step up a good bit because of DJ Lagway being on the field with them.
Yeah, I think that, healthy or not, I mean, if he was a guy like Jalen Milroe and he's coming off a hamstring, I'd be like, yeah, I would lean more into that. Him wanting to sit back there and throw the football is where I'm like, that's where it bothers me about if I'm an LSU fan, like, hey, man, this kid can really sling this thing now. Like, you better be careful. Dave, when you look at this matchup, what do you think? Because I think that might be – well, let me just ask you this first just to make sure I'm not making you assume here. What do you think LSU's or Florida's biggest advantage against LSU is this week?
That is a good one. I haven't watched enough for you guys to know consistently how do you give it the big play on defense? Do you give up the big play a lot as far as the passing game? Like, will you give up the 40, 50 pass? I don't think so. I don't remember that being a part of LSU where, don't get me wrong, I was surprised the pass to Aiden Mizell against Georgia was there. I was surprised the deep pass against Georgia was there. Kentucky hadn't given up a ton of explosives. And Florida found a way to do it, too.
If you can do it against Kentucky, you 1,000% can do it against LSU.
That's probably
right.
Okay, so that's probably where I'd still lean. It would still be the all or nothing approach from DJ Lagway and the explosives just paying off. Because don't get me wrong, when you go back and look at the Kentucky game and the beginning of the Georgia game, it wasn't a consistent offense, but the explosives equaled it out. And the deep 40, 50-yard pass is kind of washes away. And I heard you talk about it earlier. Florida struggling on third down. Florida living in third and long.
Every time.
Yeah, they make it up with DJ Lagway at quarterback. They make it up by hitting those explosive plays. So that's probably where I'd still lean with DJ Lagway at quarterback is still being able to hit those explosive passes.
Dave, I know he's only had 92 attempts. We're going to talk about third down on Thursday on our show. It's when we talk about our keys to victory, but I'll go ahead and give it to you. Brother, 3rd and 6 or less, DJ Lagway, 92% completion percentage. I
would love to know the yards per completion on that.
I'll find it for you. It's right there. I mean, we have the partnership with PFF, but I'll get it for you. I can definitely get it for you. 3rd and 6 plus, he's 50%.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's a young quarterback. You would expect that. It's a massive, massive, massive difference for a guy like him. Dave, going to flip the question for you. What is LSU's biggest advantage? Like, when you look at this game, how do you think that LSU is going to be able to attack Florida? What do you think LSU needs to come in the swamp and do against Florida to win?
I heard you talk earlier, and when you said attack, so I'm going to assume LSU's offense versus Florida's defense. I still say lean into the passing game. And I know you said you want LSU to be able to run the ball. Florida's been up and down. They had a terrible start to the season running the ball. A lot of those bad running stats come from the beginning of the season. Florida had a bye week and played run-heavy UCF, run-heavy Tennessee, and run-heavy Kentucky. Neither team ran on Florida.
Very inflated.
Yeah, and neither team ran on Florida, and which was surprising. You expected UCF because Florida was going into that first bye week and going into that stretch where they played those run-heavy teams. Florida's run defense statistically was one of the worst in the country. Still is kind of because of those, but they played really well versus UCF, Tennessee, and Kentucky. They shut those run games down. Really should have beat Tennessee and Knoxville, but gave that game away. But then gave up some rushing yards. So against Georgia, and Texas really put it on in every facet there. So I will say the run game has gotten better. It's Florida's passing defense with all the injuries they're dealing with in the secondary, I'd still lean into the passing game. I know you probably want to run the ball a little bit more to help limit some of those turnovers from Nussmeier, but I still think if guys come into the Swamp and win, it's gonna be because Nussmeier. I think him and the receivers still hit enough plays on this Florida secondary.
Yeah, and I fully agree. I mean, the reason I came out at the end when you were joining about running the football for me is mainly due to the fact, Dave, think about LSU's played the last four games that they've had, like real teams that they've played. Ole Miss is number 1 in the country in run defense. Okay, we just saw what that defensive line did to Georgia. A&M, okay, well, that front seven doesn't suck. And then last week versus Bama, well, Bama's got dudes that are outright freaks at linebacker. So
yeah, if it clicks, they're going to stop a lot of guys.
If it clicks, right. The thing is here for me about running I'm asking you to run for 125. Like I'm not, and that's what I was saying. Like I'm not asking for anything realistic. Like run, like Caden Durham, get 18 carries, 100 yards. Dave, I'll be happy as a lark. Listen. Well, no, I'm not going to. I had something in my mind. I'm not going to say it because my wife's watching the show, but I would be happy. Okay. The bottom line is I agree with you on the secondary or LSU throwing the ball versus secondary, but the ultimate concern I have there, brother, he gonna find what if he can throw 2 interceptions to South Alabama, he can throw it to Florida.
Yeah,
you know what? That's the thing for me, that if he can keep you in a game, and it's the style of fight that Florida wants to have in reference to keep the ball away a little. They want to run the football and be physical with Billy. If you let them do that, you're in trouble. You're in a dogfight at that point. So that's what worries me, Dave.
Yeah, and I can see that. You know, Florida a couple weeks ago against Georgia were able to force Carson Beck had come in trending, turning the ball over. Florida continued that. You know, Florida turned him over 3 times. Should have had an early interception versus Quinn Ewers last week, too. It was a second drive of the game. Florida,
the ball that got batted up in the air, didn't it? Linebacker
it was a simulated pressure. Florida had a guy just drop.
Okay.
Ewers didn't see him, threw it right to him. He didn't catch it. Florida would have been set up in great field position at that point. Who knows? Florida would still got smashed, but probably could have had an early lead in the game had that ball been picked off.
Right.
So they're doing some things to help turn the ball over. So that does, I think, lend some hope for this defense. You know, the trend has continued a bit when they've played these quarterbacks. Like go back to Nico when they played Tennessee. The trend was he can't hit the deep ball. Well, Florida's continued that trend. He couldn't hit the deep ball versus Florida. Carson Beck, the trend was going to turn the ball over. He turned the ball over versus Florida. So, you know, if the trend continues, you know, I'd expect Florida to bait Nussmeier into throwing. And look, and Blake, go to the point. After you and I got together earlier, I still did some more research for my end of the podcast. It's not like Nussmeier's throwing a lot of interceptions under pressure.
No.
He's got time to throw, and for whatever reason, is still throwing the picks. It's not because he's under pressure or he's hesitating or panicking or anything. It's guys are dropping in coverage, and he's, for whatever reason, throwing it right to him.
Dave, he has the lowest pressure rate in the country from Power 5. You know, like, bro.
So if
look, people are going to argue with me, and I'm glad you said it. I didn't say it, okay? Because they get mad at me with Nussmeier because he's a guy that stayed here. You know, he could have gone in the portal. He could have left. And listen, just because I think that he does some elite things, which he does do some elite things, you can't turn the ball over. And you're right. Florida, look, people look at Florida's schedule and they look at some of the performances and say, yeah, you know, Billy's cooked or Florida's this, Florida's that. But they, like to your point, the Georgia stuff, I mean, like they were running the ball down Georgia's throat in the second half. And I don't think LSU fans understand that right now. Maybe some of them do because they watch the game, but they kept running power with ball. And, dude, it's not like Georgia's defense sucks. They're 13th in total defense. Dave, they were lining up and running all over them. I know it didn't happen for whatever reason against Texas. Maybe that's a third-string quarterback. I don't know. Yeah. But the bottom line is if you think you're going to go up in there and just pity-pat around, you're going to Dave, I'm not saying LSU's going to lose, but to LSU fans, but you keep them around and see what happens. That's all that I know. So look, I'm going to, before I get you out of here, Dave, I gotta repay the favor. You asked me a great question in your podcast. and I've been waiting for 2 weeks to get your thoughts on this. So here we go. It was announced week. It was announced last week that Billy Napier, Scott Strickland, and the administration are keeping him. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Blake. My thoughts on the basic level of it is he hasn't earned a fourth year. That's where I go with it.
Right.
I get the reasons of wanting to keep him around off the field with the buyout and all the money coming up in every avenue of college football, and Florida looks like the plan is see if patience and hope pay off. To me, that's not a plan. That's not a plan to me. Patience and hope. I think you've got to have tangible evidence to point to, and maybe that tangible evidence is DJ Lagway. I mean, for everything a five-star quarterback can do, they can mask a lot of problems.
Right.
So, now we think the plan is for Florida to go attack the transfer portal really hard and build around DJ Lagway for next year and try to build around him. But we talked about it on the podcast last night. Florida's not going to be the only team in the portal. I mean, so there's going to be this Florida tax. I mean, thing is, okay, you might be going after an elite pass rusher and an elite wide receiver and all that. You're not going to be the only one. And it's going to be bigger programs who have done a lot more winning than you have. So are you going to have to overpay? Is there going to be this Florida tax because we already know the reports come out. Hey, Florida's not paying Billy Napier because they want to spend the money in the portal. Okay, you made this huge announcement. We're desperate. So you're going to have to go overpay the transfer portal to build this team. And that's the plan. Now, we kind of going back to the point where Billy Napier was hired. There was a lot of storylines of Florida, LSU, Brian Kelly, Billy Napier.
Mm-hmm.
One of the plans that I did not care for with Billy Napier was his slow approach and the slow build. I did not like it. I was hopeful that it would work out, but in this new world of college football, I had in my head, I was like, I don't know if you can do a slow build anymore.
Mm-hmm.
With kids being able to leave whenever they want to, they're not going to stick around to lose, and try to see the payoff. They don't have to anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought he should have been more aggressive in the transfer portal to begin with, so he doesn't have to do it now. And that's what he has to do now. So I think he also underestimated tearing it down to the studs and how hard it would be. I don't blame him for taking that approach, but at the same time, I think there was enough evidence in the way college football was going that I'm not sure that works anymore, especially in the SEC with impatient fan bases and the schedule doesn't do you any favors. So no, Blake, I don't think he's done anything to earn the fourth year. But at the same time, I think at the administration level, Florida's playing this one a little bit patient. You can maybe see the vision, but to me, it's asking a lot. Give me a coach who has started this bad in his first 3 years in any recent history in college football, and it pays off.
I can't. The only thought that I had in reference to you saying that, like, hey, I didn't like his approach, the slow build, it's exactly what he did at ULL.
Mm-hmm.
He went right back to, well, why am I going to change something that literally built me a winner?
I credit guys for that.
Right?
Do you change for what worked before? You probably shouldn't, but I think that's a really perfect example of the difference of the Sun Belt and the SEC.
No doubt. And look, Dave, if they would have had, I'm trying to think, if they would have had like Texas's schedule,
yeah,
what would they be? Realistically, what would they be? Would they have 6 wins? Because I could see them winning another game.
They probably have 6 by now. Yeah,
probably have 6. And the perception would be, okay, they're 6-3. I mean, Billy Napier has written this ship. I mean, God forbid he gets to 7 wins, 8 wins. God forbid, right? I do think schedule plays a little bit into it. But, man, I mean, it's not like he's the only team playing these ranked opponents. I mean, this is going to be Ole Miss's 5th. Yeah. Or that was Ole Miss's 5th. That was LSU's 5th. That was Tennessee this weekend. That's their 4th. This is Georgia's 5th. I mean, there's a lot of teams that are playing them, but this schedule is brutal. But
that goes back to kind of where I wanted to go when the season started. It was, I'm not asking Billy Napier to go win a championship.
You're asking them to get to a bowl game.
But give me something that shows there's tangible evidence that this thing is getting better.
Right.
And and it's year 3. I'm okay. Yeah, beat the teams you're supposed to beat. But at some point, you got to start stealing some games too. If this thing is headed in the right direction, you've got to. Okay, LSU might be better. Texas A&M might be better. Miami shouldn't have been better. Actually, Texas A&M shouldn't have been better. First-year head coach. Miami on the same year 3 timeline. I mean, you should be near those teams, and you should be able to steal a game at some point if this thing is headed in the right direction. You know, the gap, besides Georgia and Alabama, the gap's not that big between the rest of the SEC and Texas, the way they've recruited. You know, LSU's in that probably tier below those. Florida's in the tier below that. But at some point, you got to start stealing those type of games where the talent level
steal
is
a game
closer.
from LSU.
Yeah.
This would be the game for you. Right. This would be the game. Man, I don't like this, Dave. I'm going to go ahead and tell you. I don't like it.
You never like it. And
I know we talked about
yeah, and you freaking come to the swamp and whoop us anyway. And
I don't like it, though. I mean, they're a team that's been broken the last 6 quarters, though. I mean, I mean, Dave,
I do wonder about the mindset. I mean, as an outsider looking in, I don't want to question players that I don't know, and I don't like questioning players anyway. Yeah, it's hard to gauge want to and all that stuff. But I do question, as you said. Now you're out of the SEC race. Last 6 quarters haven't been good. You know, what is the mindset?
And that's the point that I'm at, like Dave. Because here's the worst thing that can happen for me. I don't think this is going to happen just because I'm about to label this something and I don't want to be that dude. I also have been in this exact same spot and said the same exact thing about Orgeron 2 years ago, 40 years ago. I'm like, guys, calm down. Like, I mean, it's COVID. We're going through COVID. Like, I mean, everybody's going through all this. I mean, you're the best wide receiver in the country opted out. See what Jamar Chase is doing in the NFL right now. Just see that right quick. So, I mean, look, man, I do think, Dave, and you talking about outside looking in on LSU, outside looking in for me for Florida's sake here, dude, I think Billy's kind of been in his bag the last couple weeks. It hasn't paid off. Nobody looks at it. Dude, that Georgia game I thought was insane. Like, to get the turnover, to take the deep shot, and for it to be converted – my real question was, if DJ Lagway was healthy, what happens? Like, I like, really? And I'm like, bro, you can't convince me that kid ain't going to start slinging it on him more, because that's going to continue to happen. I'm not saying that Georgia would have gotten clipped or anything like that, but this kid is different. Like, this kid can shut your lights out with one shot if you're not careful. So, look, man, I guess we'll see. Let me ask one further question. I'm sorry to keep you longer. The Golden situation, do you think that plays anything into Napier here?
I don't think so. Okay. I really don't. There's just a lot going on at university. They have an interim president. There's a lot of other academic openings in the university where they're really trying to avoid as much change as they can. So going back to earlier what we talked about and bringing Napier back and why bringing him back, that's another angle to this. There's so much going on at the university away from football. They like stability where they could keep it, and I guess they see football is one place they can keep it.
You know, Dave, I'm just glad this game's not at night, because we're a Marco Wilson shoe throw away from us, you know. We don't have a lot of success up in there. The truth is, the only LSU player to really have massive amounts of success in the swamp has been Jaden.
Yeah. I saw the stat earlier, how close this game has been in the swamp. Let's see. Last 7 games between LSU and Florida in Gainesville have been decided by a total of 37 points. The last 7.
So about 5 points a game. A little bit more than 5 points a game.
Yep. And 6 of the 7 contests.
I don't like this. I don't like this.
And here we go. And 6 of the 7 have been 1-possession games.
That's getting clipped. That's going on the internet. Damn. Wow. I mean,
I think the only one that was last year. No, 2022. It was a 10-point win.
Jaden year.
Yeah, 10-point win. Yeah.
Right. I don't like it, Dave. I don't like it. I keep telling you that. You keep calling me crazy, but see, I'm going
to go back to last year and year before, and
you're not liking those. And
you're not liking those either.
Well, if Brian Kelly could stop a team from running the football,
but honestly, going to your point, going into this game, I've seen why. We go back to 2020. Florida shouldn't have lost that game.
No, they shouldn't have.
Yeah, 2021 probably shouldn't have lost. Well, Florida was bad in 21 too, but it was a toss up.
LSU ran the same play 47 straight times. The counter run, literally.
And then nobody 2 years ago saw Jaden Daniels. Remember, because you even said that was his coming out party. He hadn't played like that. And
no,
his two games versus Florida. Good Lord, I mean.
He put
what was it, 742 yards or something. Yeah,
his entire jersey went to the College Football Hall of Fame, and I keep coming out here saying, Dave, I don't like this. I'm like, what an idiot do I look like? Oh my God! All right, David Waters, Gators Breakdown. Tell everybody where they can get your stuff all week, brother.
Yeah, man. GatorsBreakdown.com at GatorDave_SEC as well on Twitter. By preview with you in the episode play. That'll be up sometime on Wednesday evening. So it'll be pre-recorded, but I'll put it out there about Wednesday evening.
So I guess I shouldn't have told him that we talked beforehand. But
no, it's all good.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll see you soon, Dave. Thanks so much, buddy.
All right, man. See you.
All right, peace. It's David Waters from Gators Breakdown. Always fantastic. Let me get to our final break here. I do see that the college football poll has been released. LSU at 22. LSU is currently at 22. So, yeah, man. Top 5: Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, Indiana. Dude, 4 of the 5 teams in the top 5 are the Big 12 or Big 10. That's insane. Quick break. Coming right back. Stay with us. Guys, let me tell you about our good friends over at Easy Free Bail Bonds, LLC, where they get your feet back on the street. There may come a time where a loved one or yourself is arrested and you don't have enough money to get bail from jail. Easy Free Bail Bonds will assist you in the process of getting bail bonds for your family. These bonds are a way to ensure that you're financially covered when a predicament like an arrest occurs. Easy Free Bail Bonds is located inside the state of Louisiana with an expert team of bondsmen that are available to assist you or your family 24/7. The team is professional and has a high-quality work ethic that will give you nothing but satisfaction. The company takes feedback from past customers in order to better their services and are always looking to accommodate and mold their services that best fit your needs. Remember this number, 985-517-3631. That's 985-517-3631. Because when you need to get back on your feet and back on the street, you know who to call.
We're back.
All right. Wrapping up here. So LSU got a commit today from Kenny Darby, the 2026 airline out of Bossier City wide receiver. Give him their 6th commitment. Outside of him, Aiden Hall, Richard Anderson, Ja'Kai Anderson, Jalen Chapman from Warren Easton, the big offensive lineman, and then him. Look, man, glad you're dominating the high school ranks early in this process. You've destroyed New Orleans. Can you get Lamar, or can you get Brown? Can you get Jakeem Stewart, who was technically in this class? You've been relatively really good in New Orleans outside of a couple here or there. You always got to lock down the city. Listen, man, for LSU to have success, you got to lock down New Orleans. Just how it goes around here. So you've been able to do that. You get Kenny Darby in the fold here. Can you get Blaine Brad? So, can you get Lamar Brown? Can you get Blaine Bradford? Can you get Dylan Berryman? Can you get Jabari Mack? Can you get Martinez? Can you get the other McKinley? There's a lot of kids out there that you need to go and get. But the bottom line here is continue to recruit. Dominate in recruiting. See you tomorrow.